Hello, welcome out to this week's episode of Chatter with UMatter. I am Brandon Cross here once again, and today we got a really cool episode. I'm excited here today, but before we get started on that, I just want to plug once again all of our social media sites that we have going on. UMatter Chico, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we are on SoundCloud, we are on Facebook. We have a lot of different things for all these different websites. Obviously, the SoundCloud is for our podcast, as well as our Facebook and YouTube. And also on our Facebook, we have a lot of intern self-care, self-help videos, and daily blogs and vlogs also done by all of our interns. So please go check us out. Give us a like, give us a follow. And that is UMatter at Chico. Also, every Monday, live with KCSC Radio here on campus at Chico State is Wildcat Hour. And a couple of our other interns are in charge of that, and they are live every week from 2 to 3, just talking about mental health issues. So if you have the chance, go check out any of those out, It's really beneficial. And, of course, shout out to the Counseling and Wellness Center here on campus. Once again, they are located on the 4th floor of the SSC. Their hours are every Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. They have same-day appointments. They also have crisis hours, and they have walk-in appointments too. So please utilize that resource. It is free for students. It is here on campus for your support and benefit. I highly recommend it. So please go and check them out if you feel like you might need to. So I am here today with my co-host, and I'm very excited.
Hi, Brandon. I'm Chris Sims. I work at the counseling department, and I'm stoked to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for being on here today. It means a lot. I have been really excited and looking forward to this episode. Just
Me too.
Just a little conversation about mental health from a little bit different perspective. We don't really have a specific topic in mind today. I just wanted it to kind of just be a conversation between an individual who is a therapist and has many years of experience for it. So, Chris, why don't you just go on and talk a little bit, just briefly about your experience?
I'm a proud graduate of Chico State. I graduated with on my undergraduate in psychology, and then I came back and got my MSW, a Master's in Social Work, and I graduated in 2003. And I've been doing therapy pretty much ever since then. I love what I do. It's one of the best jobs that I could ever imagine anybody doing, and it's a real honor to do it, especially at this campus because I love it here.
It's definitely a very tight community.
It's a totally tight community, and just to be part of a person's, the most important thing to me, for college was never the academics. It's more like the self-discovery and all that stuff. And to be able to participate in that it's been awesome. I love it.
Yeah. So what made you want to originally get into, the world of clinical?
I knew that you were going to ask that, and I've been thinking about that over the last couple days. So one of the things that I was thinking, there's a lot of reasons, but one that sticks out to me is that my family went through some stuff back in the day, and we were lucky enough to go to family therapy. And after those sessions, I remember the feeling that our family had together. And we were really tight. And I think that was pretty influential in my decision to sort of pursue this because it made a big difference for us.
Did you always want to work specifically with college kids, or were you just open about any specific area?
So I graduated with my psychology degree here. And I moved up to Seattle because I didn't want to live back home for too long. I moved back home for a few months, and then I moved up to Seattle with my girlfriend, who's now my wife. While I was up there, I worked at Amazon.com for a little while, and that was really rough.
Yeah, that was probably the beginning stages.
It was the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I made a lot of money unpacking books, dude. So I made enough money that after a couple of years, I got to move to Costa Rica for a little while because my wife and I both wanted to do something different. So we called it our Great Renunciation. So we moved to Costa Rica, and seriously, I lived on a beach and surfed and just drank beer for months.
Yeah.
And then when I was down there, I decided I got to go back and I got to help people. That's what I want to do. That would be more congruent with who I want to be. And so I moved back, and that's how it started.
Yeah, and this was around 2005-ish?
No, oh my God, bro, no. This was 1998 8.
Okay.
Yeah, about then.
So you've been like at this for quite some time.
Yeah, totally. But it's been rad because your initial question was did I always want to work with college students?
Yeah.
But I've gotten to work in special education classrooms. I've got to work with older adults going through end of life stuff. I've gotten to work with kids, and now I get to work with college students. So I've gotten to work with everybody, and it's been a ball. Every stop has been a ball.
Yeah. Would you so with the amount of time you've been at this, have you noticed any like type of change or like, you know, a difference in like mentality when it comes to like mental health over the last decade or so?
You mean my perspective, or
or at
within
least
the
like
profession, or what are you talking
or
about?
just like, you know, some things like you maybe have noticed with like your background and, you know, being so involved in the world of clinical.
Something that's frustrating to me is that it seems like there's a lot of theoretical approaches. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Like a lot of ideas about how to help people that are influenced by insurance and like money. And that's pretty disappointing to me because I'd rather it not be that way. I'd rather just be able to give this away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like having people there to care for you shouldn't be influenced by insurance as much as it is.
Yeah, because do you feel like it's more of them being like, we're going to do it this way and any other way is just not going to work for us?
Yeah, they can sort of dictate how you do it. And also, I mean, we're lucky because we're at the university, so this is not for people who access the counseling center, but, you know, I wish we had about 1,000 more therapists than we do so everybody could get in more regularly.
Yeah.
But if you go to the outside world, sometimes people will try and get it to justify their work for 6 sessions and then you got to go. But I don't know, a lot of the stuff that we're dealing with takes longer than 6 sessions.
Yeah, I don't think I could have dealt with any of my stuff in just 50 minutes.
Who
Yeah,
can,
yeah,
man?
it's a lot of things
It's
that
a
need to
lot
be
of
unboxed.
stuff. Yeah, for sure, dude.
Yeah. So, and with that, you know, you talked about how there's so many different theories and on ways to approach it, but what I have at least learned is like there is no right way for people. I think everyone is different, so like different methods are going to work for different people, different individuals, you know. That's just how we're all wired. No two people are going to be the same. But have you found that certain methods are more ideal or work better than other ones?
Just like you're talking about how different methods work well for different people as far as clients.
Yeah.
I think different methods work for therapists too. So it's really like I was talking about with Amazon and stuff like that. Like I have to find a way that's going to be congruent for me. And one of the things that I've come to learn is, or I believe, is that everybody at the base is okay. You know, like we're all just perfect, man. But we go through these things, and we're born with these genes and stuff, and we sort of get mixed up along the way, and we forget that.
We get a little lost.
We get a little lost, and I think that we blame ourselves from some of the lessons that we learned growing up, or some of the stuff that we're born with, and it's not fair. And it breaks my heart because I see these people and they suffer and really they feel guilty, and it's just it's a hard process to watch when you know that everybody's okay, but they blame themselves for stuff they've been through. It's really hard. It's sad.
Yeah, and I know we talked about it right before we started recording, but I was one of those individuals for you who was kind of lost. A couple of years ago, I started seeing Chris it was weekly at first, I think it was, and then eventually it became less and less. But I mean, like the stuff that we had to go through to kind of like unbox like all these things, like I think going to therapy was probably one of the best and most beneficial decisions that I could have made at that time for my life.
You know, dude, and it is an honor to be able to participate in with you, dude. You know what I mean? Like it's not anything that I'm doing or anything. You're making all those efforts, and anybody who comes to me, you know, just think about for a second, Cross. Like, think about the courage that it takes to come in and tell a stranger, like, I'm hurting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you and
Especially
I had
in this
never met
culture.
before.
No, dude. I mean, and nobody does. And I get those people that come in and they're shaky or they start crying right away. It's like, I don't talk about this stuff. And we don't live in a place that's like, show me all your dirty laundry right now.
Yeah.
So it's, I can't think of a better word than to say it's an honor to participate in that process with anybody. You too, man.
Yeah, and I think, as you kindly praised me for being brave and everything to do this, I think, like, it is as much me as it was you on the other side of the table. All the stuff that I went through and all the things that we unboxed, I could not have been able to do on my own. There was no way that could have happened. So, like, you get as much credit of it as I do. I think sometimes individuals just kind of need a little guide to go through, like, these dark, twisted roads that they have to go through. And I think that, like, someone on your side of the table maybe doesn't get as much appreciation for it, but, like, you have done so much, not just for me, but for this university, for this community, and it just goes beyond words.
Cross, that means more than you know, dude. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And that said, I'm messed up too. Mm-hmm. I got my own stuff, and I get caught in that. It's not like I got answers to anything. I'm just as messed up as everybody else.
So how does that feel for you as someone, who is a therapist, who has had the years of training and years of experience, for you to acknowledge being like, hey, like, I'm just as messed up too, but, someone who has had and learned the tools to help individuals with this, is it like, how does it feel when, like, you say about that, about yourself?
Have you ever been to Salmon Hole? Did I tell you the Salmon Hole story ever?
I think you might have once, yeah.
One time I'm at Salmon Hole, and I had this, like, those deep thoughts that you get, like, that are like, this sort of...
Yeah, the light bulb going off, yeah.
And mine was that I was screwed up, and that I was never going to be able to be fixed, you know what I mean? To an extent.
Yeah.
And there was such a freedom in relaxing into the idea that nothing was broken. I mean, everything was broken, but everybody was broken, and I'm not going to be able to ever be perfect. Mm-hmm. So, like, before we started, you said you're really happy now and all that stuff, and that's great. Yeah. And then there will be a time when that goes away. Yeah. Which is fine, because that's how it is. That's what it's like to be a person. I guess what I'm saying is, like, I recognize my humanity, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that humanity includes being screwed up.
Yeah. And I think it's, like, it's okay to, like, say that for anyone.
Totally,
like,
dude.
One of our biggest themes about UMatter is, like, it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah, and you watch TV or commercials or something, and I don't think our culture does a very good job of promoting an idea that it's okay to be hurt. Yeah. Or, like, buy this. I was thinking the other night, this is an aside, you can cut it out.
No, by all means, go for it.
Dude, like, they promote fear. Mm-hmm. Because if they promote fear, then you got to buy something or get something or be something different.
Yeah, you don't want to be missing out on it if you don't have it.
But it's not as scary as people are led to believe. Yeah. It's okay to be a little bit messed up.
Yeah. And I think that's, like, a theme that goes with everything, we've seen in the Hollywood films, we've seen in all the TV shows. Perfect, detectives, perfect lawyers, perfect athletes, just perfect everything.
Perfect bodies,
yeah, and that's just, that is just unrealistic. That's not what everyday life is.
Yeah. So I think, too, like, that brings up an important point that we talk a lot at the Counseling and Wellness Center about how maybe some of the stuff that we're dealing with all the mental health issues, and, it's really hard to get in, and people are being more and more severe lately, that maybe it's a cultural issue. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think there's been, like, an increase of individuals going to therapy over the last years or so?
I just know it's been really hard to get in ever since I started 4 years ago.
Yeah, that has been an issue, and I assume we're probably not the only ones who have to go through that.
What do you mean?
I would think, like, as great as, like, the counseling center is, the ratio of staff to students is obviously a little off balance, and I would think that probably we wouldn't be the only university who goes through this issue.
And not only that, but the severity of how challenged people are when they come in seems to be getting a little bit worse. I think it's because they have to put it off, or they feel ashamed of not doing all right or whatever, so they put it off, and then pretty soon they're in pretty dire straits.
Yeah, I think, and also with college students, a big reason why we put it off is because we're just, like, we're told to be as involved as possible with your university on top of, our 16 units total.
Oh my God.
And then they tell us, like, oh, you need to get a job too because, like, things are expensive and we need to pay for textbooks. And then they're like, oh, you also need to get an internship, or oh, also you need to join a sorority or a fraternity. So I think we put it off just because we're told that we need to do everything but that.
Totally. And you know what's super funny is that people come in and we're talking and they're going like, I'm getting these panic attacks. I can't sleep. You know, I'm super overwhelmed and I don't know why. And then we go through, okay, well, let's talk about what's going on. 16 units. I'm working 20 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't work 20 hours when I was going. I think that you guys, your generation, has more responsibility than I did, and I'm sorry about that.
It's something we're all slowly learning to have to deal with, and
I'm hoping that you guys.
I'm hoping we're making the right steps.
Oh, totally. You know, something that I noticed, and you know, a lot of people go, "Oh, they're so entitled" or whatever.
Yeah.
But I sort of feel like you guys are truth tellers.
Yeah,
this generation seems to be super authentic, and like maybe the stuff that you're pointing out as not being right is not right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely feel like there has been kind of that shift in, you know, our society and kind of the way things have been run. I think I'm trying to best to avoid like specific political statements.
No, don't worry about it.
But I think there has been a shift about kind of acknowledging these hardships and difficulties that has become of not just us, but, you know, things that are happening throughout the world.
Yeah. It's an exciting time, man.
It's a crazy, stressful time.
Yeah, I know.
No doubt about it.
And you know, someday, soon,
yeah,
you're going to go to work and then come home and get on the couch. And you don't have any homework or anything, so that's going to be sweet.
I am very excited for post-grad life.
It's going to be awesome.
I am excited to just come home at 5 and then just not have to worry about reading textbooks or taking more notes.
Dude. Can you imagine?
Well, it's going to be the life. So something you brought up earlier about you have a bunch of meetings with the other counselors here on campus, and so when you guys come together, do you guys talk about like certain goals that you guys want to like achieve, or like certain approaches on how to act on certain things? Like, what are some examples of things that go on?
So, like I said before, I've gotten to work in a lot of places, and this is one of the healthiest places that I've worked. So when we get together, there's certain things set aside. One, we can talk about clients that we're concerned about and like ask for different approaches. But we can also talk about how the work is affecting us. We talk about policy changes and how to best serve the students. And we talk about how to best promote a more mentally healthy community on campus. And I'm lucky here because I feel like this is one of the most clinically talented. You know what I mean by that? Like,
yeah.
The therapist, I would send my kids to any of them.
Yeah, any of them is honest, phenomenal.
It is phenomenal, and that's not common. I don't think that's common. And as somebody who, you know, I got trust issues. I trust them. So it's nice to have people that have my back. Yeah,
and who are all like in the same boat about just wanting to help.
That goes a long way to creating a center that's going to serve students well. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think like it's a necessity having a program like that in this like modern day at least.
Bro, I was thinking the other day, you know, the university does a lot of good things, but I think this is my opinion, and I'm biased, right?
Yeah.
The Counseling and Wellness Center and student health are the most important things that we can offer students. Yeah. Because we're taking care of you guys, and that is our responsibility.
Yeah, and college has been one of just like the mentally taxing things that at least I've ever done, and I feel like I'm not the only one.
No, dude, you live where you go to school.
Yeah.
It's on all the time.
Yeah, it never stops. Even when we're on break, it still doesn't stop.
It goes on. And that's the thing, like, people don't understand what a toll that takes. You know what I mean? Until you go like, look, man, this is hard.
Yeah, like it all.
And then if any other stress comes up, like family stress, or you're working through an abuse history,
car trouble,
sexual assault, whatever, it's like, dude,
it just piles on, and eventually you're gonna hit that point.
Yeah. So hopefully, when people hit that point, they come get some support to learn that they're not insane.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, that's what happened to me when I first came in to see you. Was I had an episode where I just kind of hit that breaking point of everything just piling up on me.
I think those breaking points are those are super important, and nothing. I mean, they're awful, but they're super important.
Yeah, I think like because of that, and then the causation of that was deciding to go to therapy, and like without that event breaking me down like that, I wouldn't have made that decision, and I don't know where I'd be today, because that was probably like the most important decision I've made in the last 4 years.
Me too, man. I mean, I've had my own breaking points.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
It gets there.
I know. It does get there.
Mm-hmm. So, a little point that you brought up that I want to spend a little more time talking about. You talking about how being a therapist is, and then the emotional toll. Because, you have all these individuals who are coming in and just pouring out all their emotional stress, physical stress, all onto you and all the other counselors. So, like, what is that like, because you have to take care of yourself, too, at some point. So, like, what is having that emotional toll? Like,
when I started, it was a lot harder than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've gotten more tough and callous.
Mm-hmm.
And when I supervise interns, they say I'm worried about being callous. But I think after you hear enough stories, you sort of get a little bit disconnected. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
you become like more desensitized to like the toll that comes.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so my dad recently passed away in December, and having that with some of the stories that I've gone through sort of helps me recognize how hard this is, because it is not a joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And actually today, this is the thing that I came in for, but I took the day off because it's been getting to me a little bit. So we got to take care of ourselves. And it's really hard because, especially here, if I call in sick, today I didn't have anybody scheduled, but if I call in sick, I'm going to let those people down for a month and a half, because that's when they can get back in.
Yeah. And
I
I
don't want to do that, so it's rough.
Yeah, and I know like you feel bad about that, and I know you might feel that because if I was like the student who was needing to go to therapy, and like my therapist is like, oh, like I'm sick, I'm not gonna be able to come in today, like it can be like super frustrating for someone like me who's just like, like I need the help, and then when you say like you're sick, but then you have to realize that you are also human, you are also a person and an individual, and the experiences you've gone through and like your emotions are just as important and should be as validated as someone like me.
I agree, but I signed up for this. I knew what I was signing up for when I took this job, and it's my responsibility to take care of that. So I do this today or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, one day off.
Therapy, I do that stuff. So, yeah, it's there's this idea called vicarious trauma. Have you ever heard of vicarious trauma?
No.
So vicarious trauma or secondary trauma is this thing that happens to people that are exposed to a lot of hard stories, and it's sort of, you can take on the symptoms of like PTSD because you're hearing awful stories over and over and over. So it's something you definitely have to manage, and it would be good to talk to my wife about what effect it's had on my life.
Yeah.
But I can't do anything else. I love it so much.
No regrets at all going into this world, huh?
No regrets going in this world. I don't know. Sometimes I wish I was on that beach in Costa Rica again.
I think everyone wishes they could be on a beach in Costa Rica.
I was throwing cookies to monkeys in the morning and then walking to the beach to surf in the afternoon,
Yeah.
But no regrets. It has been such I can't even describe how much I've gotten out of it. And I know that you've talked about, maybe getting into the field too. And I hope you do, because, dude, it's a spiritual practice, this. It's art, you know what I mean? And you get to learn more about yourself. And I feel like I'm less hard on myself. I feel less guilty about stuff. And I'm more compassionate with myself, only because I've seen how the human mind works over and over. Now we blame ourselves for stuff that is not our fault. And so I can make the space for myself, because sometimes I know it's not me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally.
Does that make sense, really?
Yeah, completely.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally. that's just like really crazy and like good to hear, you know, because and also like another point that we make in UMatter is like you can't pour from an empty cup.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to take care of yourself too, and even if you are someone who is helping people constantly, like you still need to,
especially if you're somebody helping people.
Yeah,
because you know the type of people who help people are not the best at helping themselves. It occurs to me.
Yeah, agreed.
You know what I mean? So like it's especially important for people like us.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I think like and the way you talk about it, I think you and I can both say that like our personal struggles and our like personal experiences and trials and traumas that we all had to go through have helped make us who we are to this day. I think like, you know, with me being a psychology major, I think like there was honestly no other path that I could see myself on. I feel like my experiences have put me on this path, and I honestly couldn't see anything else.
Me too, dude. This profession chose me.
You know exactly. I mean? I feel like it chose me more of me choosing it.
Yeah, for real. We're set up. It was a setup. You know, that's one of the lines I use in therapy. It was a setup. We were set up to do this.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that get into this type of work have been doing it their whole lives.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like
people.
Probably since childhood.
Yes, dude.
In some way.
I'm the friend that everybody came to.
Exactly.
But I never went to them, right? Because I was the helper.
Because you were seen to not have your own problems.
Totally. But that was something that we might have learned too, like not to have our own problems. Because other people needed us more.
Yeah, 100%.
Set up. It's a setup. Yeah.
So, as we're getting towards the end of this, are there any like last like comments or thoughts that maybe you've had, or anything you might want to like plug or talk about?
Let me think about. There's a plug, but let me think if there's anything more important that I want to say. Just that you're not as broken. If you're listening to this and you're worried about how you're doing, you're not as broken as you think you are, and it's okay to admit that it hurts. And if you come in and talk to somebody about that, they'll understand.
And honestly, going to therapy, like I've said 100 times, and I will continue to say it 100 more times, was the best decision I could have made. With it, there were so many things that like I learned about myself, and you know, learned to look at things on a little bit different perspective. Stuff that just would not have been possible if I had gone to therapy. So it is something that I highly encourage individuals to go to, not because you're weak or anything, but simply just because I understand how beneficial it is and how great it is.
So can I ask you a couple questions about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you, when you were going, were you nervous?
Oh, absolutely. Like,
what were you scared of?
Because I didn't know what to expect. You know, it was my first time ever in any type of therapist office, and you know, I'm walking into the counseling center, and like, I just have no idea what's going on. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and you know, with everything that was going on that caused me to go to it, like, it was just a constant whirlwind of emotions going on, and it was hard to kind of like compartmentalize everything. And
then, you know, probably the time that you walked in there was about the 300th time that you thought about going.
Yeah.
Without getting into too many details, like, was there something that sort of inspired you to face all that discomfort? You know what I mean? Like, what was the thing that tipped it over?
Yeah, and so I talked about it on one of our recent episodes, talking about PTSD, you know, when I came in, and then we talked about that, and it's like, hey, you are having symptoms of this. I don't know if you remember, but it was the episode where, like, I randomly just, like, hit the ground. I completely blacked out and hit the ground for no reason, and, like, and we talked about how that was just, like, the straw that broke the camel's back, how, like, that episode right there was the pit for me, and I needed to climb out of it, and I didn't know what to do, so I came to you guys.
Right on, dude. I'm so glad.
Yeah. I'm glad I did too.
Yeah. All right. And so my plug is that I have this. There's a wonderful woman over at Student Health. Her name's Lori Evans. She does case management stuff, and then I have this fantastic intern. Her name's Michelle Arvella, and they're starting workshops on how to find therapists in the community and how to sign up for insurance, because there's a lot of people out there that would like to get more regular therapy. So
and once we're no longer students, we can't come back.
Totally. Yeah. And you know, you got to sign up for insurance because adult.
Yeah.
So every first and third Thursday, they're going to do starting tomorrow, they're going to do workshops on how to find a therapist. And then every second and fourth Thursday, they're going to do how to sign up for insurance. And that's just going to be ongoing through next month. And so it's going to be from 11 to 12 in the Student Services Center, room 490. So it's a really good program, and it's something that this university needs, and I'm hoping that people will go.
Awesome. So please go check it out. Utilize the resources.
You did a really good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did really good.
I try. But so before we sign off, Christopher Sims, counselor here on campus, thank you so much for being here today. It means a lot. Everything that we have gone through.
It means a lot to me, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for finding time out of your busy schedule to do this. And before we officially sign off, once again, UMatter Chico here at California State University, Chico. We are on social media. This will be airing on SoundCloud. Eventually our YouTube channel as well. We're slowly transitioning into that. But on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, give us a like, give us a follow. We have surveys going on all the time about topics maybe you want to see. So check that out. Tweet at us. We'll see it. Maybe we get to a topic you want to talk about. So thank you for listening in, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.